Good. All right.
All right, you all set?
I'm the host. Okay. All right. Thanks, Josh.
Yep, have a good night.
You too. All right. So we have Maureen. Well, let me just, I guess I might as well just get started. It's 7:04. So this is the Bridgewater Open Space Committee meeting, the meeting of June 20th, 2024. We have a quorum. Members present are Michael Sylvia, Lauren Webb, Maureen Manazian, and myself, Eileen Heine. So we have a quorum, and the meeting is convened, and it's 7:04. All right, so let's see. Let me. All right, I haven't done this in a while. I haven't figured out how to see if anybody is in the waiting room. Somebody okay, here, let's see. Michael, no one yet. Okay. All right, I was hoping we might have a couple of guests. Well, Owen is here, but he was already in. But there's Al DeSerta. There was some chance that he might attend, but I don't see him yet. So, okay. All right, so we do not have any minutes. I got surprised by Juneteenth this week, and Josh sent me the notice that I had to get the agenda into him earlier than I expected. It used to be when Marilee Hunt was town clerk, whenever there was a holiday, she always sent out to all the committees the changed schedule for submission of the meeting materials. But the new town clerk hasn't done that, so I was caught off guard. So anyway, I didn't get the minutes done in time to get them sent out with the agenda and posted, so they will have to wait till next week. Next item is public comment. This is to address any public comment about issues that are not listed on the agenda for discussion in the rest of the meeting. Does anybody in the public have any comments they want to make? I think Janet Hansen, I think, is the only person from the public here right now. No? Okay. All right, let's see. All right, so old business. I had a meeting with Town Manager Michael Dutton on the, I think it was the 23rd of May. I actually got an hour and a quarter with him, which I thought was remarkable. I think his administrative assistant was out that day, and I wonder if maybe had she been there, she would have dragged him to another meeting or something. But anyway, it was nice. It was good. So one of the issues that we'll talk about later that came up with him, and I'll go into that in more detail, is the open space plan update. So he and I went through some of what's going to be involved about that. And then we also talked about Hanson Farms. And one of the things that was new to me is the funds that they are anticipating they'll need to purchase the Hanson Farms conservation restriction. They're now applying to the Municipal Vulnerability Program for. Maureen, have you heard anything about that at the CPC, Community Preservation Committee meetings? CPA, yeah, because I think originally they were considering it as a CPA would be the likely source of funding, but they've apparently decided to try for the Municipal Vulnerability Plan program, which is a state grant program. Oh, and do you have any familiarity with that? Do you know if Wildlands Trust has used that for any grants?
Oh, I believe so.
Yeah, okay.
I believe we just protected 30 acres in Avon using MVP.
Using that, okay, all right. Well, that was new to me, so that was good to hear. And the negotiations for Hanson Farm are ongoing. I mean, everything is on schedule. I saw Bob Hanson a few weeks ago, and he said they had submitted their demand to their attorney, and I don't know how far ahead that's gone, but anyhow, it sounded like things are are moving ahead, but it is important that a certain schedule be met, or the town will miss the time frame for submission of the MVP, the Municipal Vulnerability Grant, for this calendar year, and then it would have to go to the next year. So anyway, that's kind of what's driving the process, and hopefully it will all go as planned. The other thing I discussed with Michael is Wyman Meadow, and we'll talk about that more later. And the upshot of the meeting was, as we got out, he said that he would call Paul DaCosta, who's the manager of the highway department, to ensure that we get the gravel that we need placed at Wyman Meadow. I still haven't heard from Paul myself, but there are some other issues that we'll talk about in terms of the size of the parking lot and where the gravel should go, et cetera. So until we get those resolved, I won't go back to Paul, but Michael did make it very clear that the town was fully behind providing that gravel and at no cost. So the other thing that he mentioned to me that I had kind of lost track of, I don't know, I just in terms of general open space, not something that we're dealing with, but some of you may be familiar with the Rainbow's End on Flag Street. It was a playground that was used pressure treated wood, or not worse than pressure treated. I don't know what it was in it, but anyway, it was completely contaminated, and it's basically a not a Superfund site, but it's a contaminated waste site at this point. And so the town is working to get and working with the state to get that cleaned up, and it's right next to the soccer fields. So it has the potential to have some open space value, but I don't know what the long-term prognosis is what it will take to get it cleaned up and how long of an effort that will be. Maureen, you probably remember when they were using that park, right? Yeah.
Yes, I do. I remember when they built it and organized it, got the whole thing going, but
Yeah.
said it was contaminated. They pulled it down. And my question about that, is that on soccer land or is that on state land? That
well, actually, what he told me is that the soccer fields are on state property.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is news to me. So I don't know.
Yeah, so I think that with that empty lot next door, I think they use it, they hay it now and again. I think that's probably all part of one big parcel for the state.
Yeah. So I don't know what the overall plan is for that, but it's probably something we ought to keep on our radar, just to be familiar with it and what the potential value is for it. I mean, I know they're still using it for soccer, but.
Oh yeah.
All right, and I think that was about the extent of my discussion with him. The other thing he was really happy about is I told him that we were doing these videos, that we'd started the process of video. We were doing the Carver Pond one the next week, and that we are doing those for purposes of putting them up on the town website, et cetera. And he was really excited about that. He thought that was a great idea. I was glad to see us doing that. And I think you also noted that I submitted the comments to Michael Dutton's office for the Summer Street gas station parcel that's being converted to a new park. And I did get a response from him that those comments were much appreciated and that they now will be applying for a grant, and he will try to see that those suggestions get incorporated in the grant proposal so that they can be addressed. So, the other thing too, okay, I asked him about the hunting at Wyman Meadow. He didn't seem to know any more about it than anybody else. So that's still a mystery. We'll continue to work on trying to track down answers for that. And he mentioned that they do have a sign design company that's working on Stiles and Hart. And the goal is that there will be something that will come from that will be useful that'll be the template for all of the parks. So just keep that in mind. So, all right. Lauren? Lauren, I can't hear you. Lauren, you're muted.
Sorry about that. I think my son made
Oh.
my microphone go off. Sorry about
Oh,
that.
all right. So you were not trying to speak?
No, sorry.
No, okay, all right, okay. You know, somebody just remind me here, I can't, it's been a long time since if there's somebody in the chat room, is it gonna show up in my list of participants?
Yeah,
Yeah, okay, all right. Because I'm surprised that Pat Neary isn't here. And anyway, don't want to make sure I'm not missing anyone. So, okay, all right. So that's pretty much that. And now to speak more directly, anybody have any questions about that? The meeting with Michael? No. Okay.
No.
The publicity. We did our first photo shoot on the 1st. Michael, Sylvia, myself, and met with Jeff Fowler of Bridgewater TV and Al DeSerta, who I will mention his project more. He's the president of the Fire for Effect Foundation, which has become kind of an activist group in town, cleaning up various town sites, or particularly Town River Landing behind the BTV station. Anyway, he's a professional photographer, and he came along to do the filming. And I don't know, what we spent about an hour out there, Mike?
Yep.
Walking around and he taking film, and Mike took film as well. And
Yeah.
and Al, we haven't seen from Al what it will look like yet. You know, he hasn't. We don't have a version of it. And but Michael, why don't you talk about what you were considering doing with? Because Michael was also filming.
Yes.
And, yeah. So why don't you talk about what you were contemplating with respect to what you were doing?
Yeah. So BTV, they're going to be going through the footage, and what we're planning to do with them is wait until we shoot all of the footage for all of the parks, and then put together kind of not a trailer reel, but like something that has like a little bit of to pique interest on social media for people. It's going to be short, about 30 seconds. And then what we're going to do is we're going to have for each individual park a video that's about 30 to 45 seconds that will have a voiceover script that will go with it, and it will highlight the location of the park. Actually, I have the script. It's going to highlight the location of the park, some of the things that some points of appeal for the park, since they have all different attributes, and then highlight the location. You know, what is surrounding it? Does it have trees? Is there a lake? What activities can you do? And just basically tell that story for each individual location. And then what we're going to do is we're going to have those put out by BTV, and they're going to put them out as reels and as reels on Facebook, and on, if we ever do Instagram, they would be used for Instagram as well, because reels is for both. Yeah, so that's basically it. And I took video as well. I did some vertical video, and what we're doing is vertical video is what you typically like when you look at your phone, and that's what most video is now for social media. So they're going to be able to do horizontal and vertical video for us. So I'm just going to be handing off the video that I took as a second shooter of B-roll to them. And yeah, that's basically it. We got one down. We figured out the kinks and all the issues this first time around, and I think it should go fairly well as we expand to the other parks.
Yeah, and it looks like it's probably going to be mid-July or so before we can get out to do some of the others. Glad we didn't have any scheduled for the last 3 days.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, BTV obviously is very busy with
Yeah,
a lot of things coming up in town and the 4th of July. So the soonest that we can get out with them is going to be the second week of July. And then hoping to get get these kind of wrapped up um no later than August so that we can still get some prime open space outdoors time for people to come visit. Um and in addition to that, obviously, be good for the fall as well.
And Michael, you volunteered to do the script.
Yep, I have a draft of the script.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about that? I mean, do you want to read it to us, or is that too long, or do you want to send
No,
it?
it's not long at all. I timed it out perfectly because it's 30 seconds.
All right.
So,
Why don't you let us hear it?
okay, so this is specifically for
Yeah.
This is for Carver's Pond. So I wrote, located off Summer Street, walking distance from Bridgewater State University, Carver's Pond is a serene oasis perfect for nature enthusiasts. The tranquil spot offers picturesque views and diverse wildlife, making it ideal for bird watching, fishing, or simply enjoying a peaceful stroll. Carver's well-maintained trails are easy to traverse for even the most inexperienced hiker. There are many spots along trails to sit, rest, and take in the beauty of the historic landmark. The pond, surrounded by lush greenery, provides a refreshing escape between meetings or a nice walk after work or on the weekends. Carver's Pond is a favorite spot for locals, from hikes to family picnics and outdoor activities. Whether you're a resident or just visiting, Carver's Pond is a hidden gem in the South Coast that showcases the natural beauty of Bridgewater.
Okay, that's great.
Yeah, and it's structured so that we can slot in individual points like located off of what
Yep.
street. This location name is a adverb and a verb, perfect for nature enthusiasts. This spot offers points of appeal, et cetera, et cetera. So we'll be able to use a similar script going forward so we can time things and shoot things in a fairly consistent manner.
That is terrific. Thank you.
Yeah, that's such a good idea. That's so exciting.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Not enough to make you want to stay on, Lauren?
You know, I am sad that I am coming off, but it's
Yeah.
just hard with
Yeah, it
being
looks like you're
back to
still
work
at
full
work.
time.
too. Yeah, it looks like you're still at work.
I just got home, but
Oh,
when my work closed still.
Yeah. Okay. All right. No, I was just kidding. I know. You don't want to get off. All right. Well, thank you, Mike. That was great. I'm
Awesome.
looking forward. I think this sounds that we could have this all done like by mid-August, and I think would be a really a feather in our cap because we've been talking about it, and everybody's been talking about it for so long. So.
Yep. Yeah, I'm excited for it.
All right. Does anybody have any questions about that? Anything they want to add? Anything they'd like us to see us focus on or anything? I mean, you'll have plenty of time to make those comments in the future, but we'll probably show a draft at some point. Does that make sense, Mike, that we would show
Yeah.
it to the committee before first? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's move on to Wyman Meadows, North Fork Preserve. So Owen from Wildlands Trust is on, and the issue that's still unresolved is the parking area. As I mentioned, Michael assured us that we will have the town's support in getting gravel down there, and we decided we needed the gravel after the wettest spring, winter ever, or whatever. And so what Owen and I had discussed and we had kind of had in mind was 3 spaces, and then Owen had gone out and marked that with stakes so that we could get to the town, Paul DeSerta and not Paul DeSerta, Paul DeCosta, and ask him to put the gravel down. But then John Hart went out and he sent us an email saying he thought we should try to go for more spaces, including those of you who are familiar with it. There's that kind of circular area that has a lot of brush in between, and somebody has mowed a pathway of wide enough for a car around it, that he thought all of that was being considered for parking, and that's somewhat problematic. And I went out again to see Owen, who was out there with about 20 volunteers in 11 cars the other day. And Owen, you can discuss the rest and what we concluded. So I'll let you take it away here.
Oh yeah, it was a great little trial because we did have a lot of cars there, and what we realized was we have so much parking on the side of the road there, that's if we have 3 designated spots for the parking, but then there's 3 cars there and more people are coming in. There's plenty of room for people to pull in. We even had water department trucks driving past us while we were out there, and they had a ton of space to get by, and it was really no problem at all. As I think, Eileen, we talked about a sign or some way to stop people from parking on the left-hand side of the road. Or right, it doesn't matter because there's so much space.
Right, yeah, and all the cars were lined up on the side where the kiosk is, for those of you who have been out there and are familiar with it. And yeah, and this is of course dependent on the person, that neighbor who has mowed all of that area. But presuming that continues, I mean, we're always going to have to. There's going to have to be some maintenance of the parking area at some point, and the trails, and Wildlands Trust is going to be doing all the trail maintenance. So I think we're confident that there won't be any trouble if the neighbor, for instance, should move away or decide he doesn't want to do that anymore. That it won't be a big deal at all to mow a strip along the road that's adequate to accommodate the cars. And it really was a great time to go out there that day, because it really convinced me too that there's just no problem with if the 3 spaces fill up. There's plenty of room to turn around, yeah. So anyway,
I have a couple pictures I can show.
Oh, that's right. Yep, good. Do that, please. I need to make you host.
I can share. It says I can share my screen here.
Oh, okay. All right, good. Right.
Oh no, it doesn't. It says it's disabled.
No. All right. Participants. All right. Remind me what to do to make you host. More. I bet it's more.
You can also say allow people to share simultaneously, without making someone a host.
Oh.
But if you wanted to make them a host, you would go to the participant list, and you should see some dots next to the names.
Yes. All right. More. Okay. Yep. There it is. All right. Yep. Make co-host. Okay. Thank you, Lauren. All right. You're co-host.
All right. Great. You guys see this?
Yep.
All right. Yeah, well, I'll start with this is kind of what we have in mind for the actual lot where they'll put gravel down. I think it's pretty good. We're all parked pretty close to each other because people were driving in this area on the right and going around, but it's going to be enough room to park comfortably for 3 cars. And then
and so that's the area that we want the gravel down. And then Owen, you were also contemplating a fence along the back side of it?
Yeah, a fence or even hanging a rope. It's not going to keep people from driving through it, but it's just to delineate. I think maybe down the road clearing out this brush behind the cars, and it is a nice open flat grassy area that would be great for picnic tables or a new kiosk someday. But it's a good area. But I think if we go bigger, it's so secluded. I would have concern about it turning into a little party spot or
Party
something.
spot, yeah.
Um,
Yeah, so, yeah, I think I think the picnic tables is a great idea, but I think that's for the future. I'd like to just get what we've contemplated so far, just in terms of parking resolved and move ahead on
Yeah.
it.
And then this just shows, just how much parking there is on the side. There's these cars, I think there were, 3 or 4 cars past where you can see here.
Yes, yep.
All of
And then
them.
there was one backed into that little spot there too, where that guy mows around another pile of brush, and then there was one backed in there. So yeah, it was just, and then yeah, and there was plenty of room on this side, but this is where we were saying, probably should be no parking signs along there, just to make sure people aren't parking on both sides, and that this area in front of the kiosk probably should be no parking as well, so people can get to it and view it easily. So
Yeah. I like a big rock right in front of the kiosk.
right, yeah, that's a good. Yeah. Does anybody have any questions or thoughts about that, or does anybody think that that's that we should go bigger than the 3 spots with the gravel?
I think it's a good start. I think it makes sense. Personally, I love the idea of the picnic tables, even seeing if somebody could a local business could donate them, would be like an amazing thing. But no, I think it's honestly a good start, and to see what traffic looks like, how it flows, how people are utilizing the space makes sense, because if we make it really wide and open, could get some bad behavior of like people double parking behind people and causing issues like that. I think it looks good the way it is for now.
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah, I see there's a question from Janet Hansen about picnic tables create trash. Yeah, they definitely do. So we can, but we're not contemplating that right now, Janet. It's just it's for future discussion. Right now, we're going just with the parking, and that's where we want to. That's the point we want to start from now, and move ahead and get that done. And so I think we'll deal with the outcome of further expansion and trash and whatever later on. So, and of course,
We don't want to create more work for our parks department in another location for them to clean up. That would not be.
Right. Or Wildlands Trust, which is really taking the responsibility for maintaining this entire trail. So, yeah. And I'm sure, Owen, you have lots of experience to draw on in your other sites about where, where picnic tables are a good idea and where not, and that sort of thing. So
Sure do.
yeah, right. Okay. All right. Let's see, is somebody else in the chat room? No.
I have a question. Eileen?
Yes, Maureen, yep.
How is the work progressing to open up the trails for everybody?
Well, that's the next item on the agenda.
Oh,
Under
okay.
Working Meadow, opening date and event. Oh, and you can give us an update on the trails. And then he and I talked about, it seems like the end of September would be ideal for an event. And what I'd like to do today, if we can, is just tentatively pick a date, because, I mean, things tend to get dragged out, and I don't know who in town, has to help organize this and who we should notify. And so I feel like I'm going to need some guidance on who to work with on this, and that we ought to get a date set now, so that at least we have something concrete in place and to work towards. So, and why don't you go ahead and
Yeah. But we're 98% there. The only thing left to do at this point is marking the trails. We just brought out the rest of the water crossings for now. It was with the trails drying up again, it's tough to tell exactly what they'll be like again in the winter and spring. But we're just about ready for opening up.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, it is a moving target when, yeah, the weather changes between what you see and then when you go out to do it, it's different.
yeah.
Right, so. And it just remarkable to me that, I mean, that was the beginning of the heat wave, and what did you had 20 people out there, right? Working?
Close to it, yeah.
It's pretty
Yeah.
remarkable.
Was hauling really heavy lumber and then cut back the entire trail.
Yeah.
It was great.
Yeah. All right. So September, everybody pull their calendars out. Well, I guess, you know, the first question is a Saturday probably the most likely day of the month? I mean, day of the week? Do you ever do anything on Sundays, Owen, or do you pretty much stick to Saturdays for Wildlands Trust events?
I try to keep my Sundays in the fall free
Okay.
for my football, but no, anything works for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does anybody see any reason not to pick a Saturday? How about the 21st or the 28th? Now, and you know, I'll have to do a little bit of research here just to find out what might else be going on in town. Like, I think the Better Business, or what is the Autumn Fest? Is that usually the last Saturday? Maureen, do you know? Or Janet, somebody in town? I think that might be one conflict.
That sounds right.
Yeah, I think that's usually the 20th,
Yeah,
the last Saturday, yeah. And that's
probably leaning towards the 21st.
yeah, and that's a fairly big event in town, Owen. I mean, it's set up on the BSU quad and all the, you know, with tables and refreshments and stuff like that. So, all right, well, with that in mind, how about the 21st?
Works for me.
Yeah, and then I would say, you know, let's go to the 21st and October 5th if I find out that the 21st doesn't work for some reason. And so, Owen, how much can we, well, I know we can, Nicole isn't on today, but she mentioned before that the tree committee has gotten help from town staff in terms of the events they've done for the Arbor Day plantings and things like that. And of course, in this case, we'd be collaborating with you, and you guys are masters at this. So, Owen, how to start? I mean, do you have like a list of what you do for, you know, a checklist? No, that's not you.
Oh, well, I'm sure we do.
You do, okay.
We've got a whole department that does that.
It does-
I'm usually, I just show up and they tell me where to move stuff.
Okay. All right. Well, you know, why don't you just email me sometime you have a chance, the name of someone to talk with?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll introduce
And
you.
I'll just ask Josh about, you know, who to talk to in town and try to start, throw the dates out and see what kind of response I get. And I don't know, you know, when it needs to go to town council or that stuff. So, but anyway, it sounds like if we pick the 21st or the 5th as possible events, and where we would tell people about the opening, then, you know, what's all the amenities, whatever, get people out there to enjoy it and hope for good weather. So,
Yeah.
Anybody have any questions or suggestions? Did or does? Yeah, no, Janet, yeah, we've covered all the bases with Concom months ago, so, yeah.
Eileen,
Yes,
would something like that be good for bringing in Boy Scouts or Girl Scouts working on badges to help them, you know, to help out with opening, or is it just be too much?
well,
know,
as far
you
as
want-
I'm concerned, it's too much, but I don't know any Boy Scouts and I've never worked with Boy Scouts, so I will leave that to you or other people who have worked with Boy Scouts. And I know Nicole's big on working with Boy Scouts, so she might feel like it's a good thing to do, you know. And one of the things they did do for the latest Arbor Day opening, or the Arbor Day event was they had a poster contest
Oh, yeah,
for
yep, yep.
for the kids, which was really, good. And so they had now, so, maybe there's a model there we could use to, have kids do something with a poster about Wyman Meadow or town parks or, something and have a competition like they did to get them involved. So I think that's a good idea, Maureen. I think it just would fall under the idea of how do we generate some interest in it, and getting kids involved is really important. So,
We did get a donation towards the project from the troop in town, the Boy Scouts.
the Boy Scouts in our town.
Yeah,
Which one?
I think it's actually, they might be the Raynham troop, and they take the kids from Bridgewater.
Oh, interesting. So somebody must have solicited that from Wyman.
It was a kid who did his Eagle Scout project at Great River.
Oh,
And he
okay.
donated the excess funds that he had raised towards this project.
Oh, terrific. Oh, interesting.
So I would definitely, that they've been waiting to do a photo op, and the whole deal. So
Yeah,
they'll
okay, great.
receive an invitation.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's good to know. All right. Well, if anybody has any other ideas, we'll be talking about this. Well, we don't have that long, and it's the July meeting and the August meeting, and then we'll have to have it pretty well wrapped up. Well, I'll send something out about that. I'm considering whether we should have a subcommittee kind of working on the opening, so that we have people who can have discussions about this as a group prior to and apart from just our monthly meetings. Because it can get a little dicey, we're going to, if we could have a meeting where we don't have a quorum, and that would be really bad between now and September, when we've got something coming up. So, Maureen, would you be willing to work on kind of organizing it? Is that
I would work on the committee. I'm not so sure about organizing the whole thing, but I would
Yeah,
definitely.
I'm just thinking like a subcommittee, maybe to look into how kids. Maybe you could contact Nicole and find out, how she got the kids involved at the school, or if
Yeah.
Boy Scouts, or so. I guess maybe the place to start is with this group of Boy Scouts that you're in contact with. Oh, and if they've already given a donation, are they interested, or is it just they have the money and so you just happen to be there with an open hand?
Oh no, they're interested. They were looking to donate toward a project in Bridgewater.
In Bridgewater specifically. Okay, all right. Okay, great. So maybe that's a place to start, Maureen. See, talk to Owen about who he had contact with, and or Owen could just let you know, send you an email, and yeah. So that's one element of it, and then I'll try to work on the official aspects, like who at the town needs to be involved, like what should we do in terms of going to town council and announcing this, and
And more importantly, a date.
Yes, right. Yeah. Well, what I'm going to do is throw out the 21st and the 5th and see how those work. And that's what we'll start with. And yeah, so I think yeah, and I guess it basically, well, they'll probably want to have somebody talk about something, maybe it'd be nice to have some kind of an environmental educator out there. Owen, does that sound like a possibility? Someone who could lead the hike?
Yeah, it absolutely does.
Yeah.
We've actually, we've got trained hike leaders who, some of them volunteered on the trail with us.
Yeah, okay. All right.
Who some are more than able to talk on things. I just, as we start talking about this, I just, my only concern is the capacity of the property.
Yeah.
And
That's true, yeah.
the actual trail, like if 100 people were to go tromping out at the same time,
Right.
it just, I just don't know that it's set up for that. I don't know that it
Yeah.
ever will be.
Yeah.
So I love the idea of guided hike,
Yeah,
of a guided hike, but I think something like this, inviting people from the town is great. Maybe some of the volunteers who worked on it, but some kind of low key.
yeah, yeah. Yeah,
Soft
okay.
opening.
Yeah, so that's good. I think maybe, yeah, it's good to just keep talking about this because we'll have a different, like, as you're saying that, yeah, you're right, that doesn't work. But maybe we have kind of a small official ceremony where, we have the town council representative and Michael Dutton or whatever. And then maybe we schedule some hikes during the course of the day, like every hour, there's going to be a group of 10 going out. You have to register ahead of time. I mean, you require registration for your hikes all the time.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
yeah, okay, all right. Okay, well, I don't want to spend too much time talking about this tonight, but I think maybe Maureen, if you and I can kind of keep tabs on this and maybe have a conversation with Owen to just kind of,
Okay.
throw these ideas around over the course of the next couple of weeks, and I'll figure out who to talk to in town about the dates, and then see the pieces we can start pulling together. Michael, do you have any interest in being involved in this? I mean, I know you've got the video project you're working on.
Video's gonna kind of spread me thin once we get it all put
Yes.
together. So
All right, just didn't want you to feel left out.
no, I appreciate it.
Okay, all right. Okay, anything else anyone wants to add about that? No, all right, let's move ahead. Well, we don't have either Maureen, I'm sorry, Nicole or Pat Neary on this call, so we have no report for the tree committee. That's funny. One of the things I put in my accolade that I was asked to write for Pat being Citizen of the Year was that she's the one member of the public that has come to every one of our meetings. She is not here, so.
She got the commendation. She can slack off now.
Right, yeah, right. She's slacking off. So.
All right, hey, I'm gonna take off.
Yes, all right. Thanks so much, Warren.
Good chatting with you all.
Owen, God, I got everybody's names wrong tonight. Jeez. Bye, Owen.
Bye.
All right. So as you saw, I've submitted the comments on the Summer Street Park Plan, and I told you Michael was happy to get those. I don't know of anything to be done at this point, but I think we just ought to keep on top of that and assume there will be a second draft. And here, Janet, somebody's told me that Pat chose to join an Audubon meeting on wetlands tonight. Okay, that's a good excuse. It's an excellent excuse. Yep, she's not slacking off after all. Yes. All right. So the Lake Nip project, it is continued to the Concom meeting of next Thursday, the 27th? I think that's Thursday. Yeah, Thursday at 5:30. One of the things we had talked about at our last meeting was that letter that we submitted to the planning board, and I believe also to the MEPA process, about the lack of state-of-the-art water management and landscaping, et cetera, at this project should be resubmitted. But I was counting on Nicole to update it, because some of the comments that she actually drafted that letter, and then on behalf of the Open Space Committee, and it was submitted. But there are some of the things that are a little out of date with that now, because the developer has addressed a couple of those questions, particularly the permeability of pavement issue. And so I was hoping to get, have Nicole revise it before we resubmitted it, but she hasn't. So, but I'll be in touch with her, and if need be, I'll just redraft the letter to get something to the Concom by the 27th. And the other thing that I neglected to do is I've been looking at my notes that we had said that we should get those letters, our prior letters, out to the third party consultant that the Concom asked to review this project before they looked at it any further and to get that issue to them, but I neglected to do that. So I'll check with the planning department staff to see if it's too late. But by now they really should have their report. That third party consultant really should have their report to the well along the way, if not finished. So I don't know if it may just be too late. So, all right, any questions about that? All right, let me see. All right, the last item, the Town River Landing project. I was hoping, so I had invited Al Lacerda, it's Lacerda, who is president of this Fire for Effect Foundation. And that's a group that I'd heard about before. I know they attended one of the meetings that Kitty convened a year or so ago with all of the people interested in open space and trails. And this Fire for Effect is basically a group working on behalf of first responders and supporting first responders, police, firefighters, EMTs, nurses, anybody considered a first responder, making it making that this Town River Landing site off behind the BTV studio on Spring Street as a permanent site for the First Responders Day. And they're also bringing in, having a number of musical festivals. I don't know when the last time many of you have been down there, but they've reclaimed quite a bit of pavement that was blacktop that was behind the BTV studio, between the studio and the river. And they're not doing anything to the landing because they don't have, they would need Conservation Commission permission to deal with the canoe launch itself, the landing. But they're trying to, I understand that Al Lacerda owns the piece of one of the buildings next to this property. And so they're trying to make it a venue, like a concert venue, and there's quite a lot of, they put in quite a bit of grass where they've reclaimed the parking area. And anyway, he was, as I said, was the photographer when we went out to Carver Pond, because that's his profession. And so, not really knowing much about this myself, I thought it would be interesting for him to come and talk with us, because they are promoting it as an open space, and but it's nothing that's ever been considered to be an open space parcel of the town other than as a canoe launch. But they are reclaiming this, and he did go through the process. I know he's had some kind of a presentation to the town council. I understand the town approved whatever they have proposed there. They've cut back brush and trees, disposed of trash, planted new grass, and completely revamped the space. And if they have quite a number of events scheduled over the next few months, musical events. And I guess they said they had 300 people there one day for something. But anyway, I thought that as the Open Space Committee, we ought to know about this. And so he said he thought he could be at this meeting and just tell us about it, but he obviously couldn't make it. So anyway, does everybody know where I'm talking about, where the location is? Maureen, you know where that area is, right?
Oh, yes, I'm aware of it.
Yeah.
I've been to a couple smaller things when they first got started over there.
Oh, you have? Okay, all right.
I believe they're also, weren't they trying to do a, where people come and sell veggies and
Oh, farmer's market?
market type thing.
Oh, okay, all right. Yeah, I think I did see some reference to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. All right. All right, let's see, the next item is the open space plan update. This is new business also. So I've had a couple of questions. Carlton Hunt had asked about this, and someone else had asked me, when it has to be submitted, and it has to be submitted by April of 2025. And I had a meeting, Michael brought it up when I met with him, and then on Monday, I had a meeting with Shane in the planning department, Community Economic Development Planning Department, and Stristy, also the other planner, to discuss what this is going to entail and how it's going to be structured, et cetera. It is not going to be undertaken by the Open Space Committee, I'm happy to say, because as you might guess, it's a huge project. The options the town has is to have internal staff do it, which would probably be impossible. We could never make the deadline. To hire a consultant, which I think is what they did last time, although Shane wasn't sure, or to have the Old Colony Planning Council basically do it for us. And I think that is a role that they provide for a number of towns, different planning efforts. So but it should, Michael told me it should come out of the town budget, that there should already be money in there for it. And so Shane kind of went through some of the structure of it, that there should be a town steering committee, that it wouldn't be the Open Space Committee, that there would be a separate steering committee. And last time, they had somebody from Open Space on it, but also someone from various, like Conservation Commission and maybe agricultural, if there is such a group. But anyhow, that the idea is to give it a little more prominence in town, other than just straight to the committee, because they will need to have a couple of public meetings. That there would have to be 2 public outreach meetings, because the state requires a certain amount of public participation in order to approve it. And I guess it will, what I'm going to do is I'm going to send out to all of you the link to the open space plan that was submitted. I think it was in 2017. Yeah. And you can just kind of take a look at it and see what's entailed. And what Michael suggested to me, we might want to focus on our committee is to think about what we would really like to see the plan address. Like, it's a very broad document, covers all sorts of things, a lot of goals, objectives, some that were met, an awful lot that weren't met. Is there something that we would like to zero in on and make the plan more directed in one direction or another than, so that's something I'll put on our agenda for some future meetings. Probably wait until the steering committee has been established and see where it's headed. And once they have a timeline, I think that would be the time for us to kind of just think about where we would like to weigh in. And it's kind of interesting to read through it too, to see, of course, some of these issues we know have gone around and around and around, and they've gone around and around with us too, like signage, for instance. So part of the new plan is, have we addressed what we said we were going to do in 2017? And if not, why not? And how are our goals differ now? And of course, it will require a re-inventory of open space in the town as well. So, Maureen, you weren't involved in this process before, were you? You were?
Well,
involved in the open space plan development before?
I thought that we had gone over it, maybe when we first got on the committee, we had gone over the open space plan.
We probably did, yeah, just so we all kind of knew what it was about.
Well, I thought there were some changes made and adjustments, and that it was you and me and that guy that moved to New Hampshire or Maine or wherever.
I know what you mean. Huh. Well, I'm not remembering that, but yeah, okay. I'll try to go back and see if I have anything about that. But anyway, does anybody have any questions, comments? No? Okay. All right. So we're pretty much done. Please note that our meetings from now on are going to take place at 2:00 in the afternoon. And one of the advantages of that, I think, is that Nicole will be better able to attend. And also, I'm hoping that we might get some assistance from town staff in taking minutes. So we'll see. But anyway. All right. Lastly, I want to thank Lauren. Lauren, this is Lauren's last meeting. She has been on for 3 years, and her life is too busy to continue. But Lauren, thank you so much. You've been a great member and participant and contributed a lot to this committee, and we appreciate your being on it with us for the time you have been, and hope you'll follow us from time to time and keep walking the trails. So
Definitely. Yeah, thank you so much. And thank you for your leadership of this committee. You really have kept, a full slate of, things happening. The committee has a lot of accomplishments to be proud of.
thank you. I appreciate that. All right. That's it, folks. So can I have a motion to adjourn?
I think we should leave that one to Lauren for her last one.
Oh, yeah, good.
Yeah, that's good. Lauren, it's in your court.
She's muted. Sorry.
Oh, there we go. All right. Motion to adjourn.
I'll second it.
All right. Maureen?
Second it, yep.
No, you're I.
Oh, okay, yep.
You're I and I'm I. All right. We are adjourned. See you all July 18th at 2 p.m. Good luck, Lauren.
Thank you. Thanks so much. And I hope to go to the event for
Oh,
the,
yeah, okay. All right. Good.
yeah,
Please do. That would be great.
yeah, definitely. All right. Bye, everyone.
Good night,
Bye.
everyone.